When Doris heard this, she lowered her head unconsciously. At this moment, she couldn't help feeling in her heart, the young master is wrong, that's how the father's situation is. Every day is rapidly deteriorating, and there is no hope at all. The only glimmer of hope is the successfully matched kidney source that Walter found in the United States. However, Walter's condition is simply a great insult to her personality and character. However, if I am not willing to accept his terms, I must be prepared for my father to die at any time. Thinking of this, Doris's eyes were sore, tears burst out in an instant, dripping uncontrollably on the cold concrete floor. Subsequently, Doris's negative emotions accumulated for many days exploded in an instant, and slowly squatted on the ground, crying with her headache she just could not stop. Seeing that Doris, who has always been strong, was sobbing silently at this moment, his heart couldn't help but feel a little distressed, and he thought to himself, she must have reached the point where she is desperate, and her emotions cannot collapse like this. Thinking of this, he squatted in front of Doris, patted her shoulder gently, and said seriously, Doris, it doesn't matter if you can't find the source of the kidney. I have a better way to save your father than to find the source of the kidney. Come, it will save the old man the pain of getting a knife on the operating table. When Doris heard this, she couldn't help but raised her head, looked at Charlie in amazement, choked up, and said, Master, are you telling the truth? Of course it is true. Charlie nodded, stretched out his hand and opened the co-pilot's car door, and said to Doris, get in the car, let's go to the hospital and get your dad's body cured first, and then thoroughly check who it is that poisoned your father. When Doris recovered, Charlie had already opened the front seat door and gently pushed her on the back towards the car door. Doris recalled what he had said a moment ago, and asked with a face full of disbelief, Master, do you really have a way to cure my father? Charlie nodded, looked at her red eyes, and said seriously, since I have said it, it must be possible. Doris subconsciously said, but the doctors say that kidney failure is irreversible. Charlie said word by word, if the doctor can't reverse it, it doesn't mean that Charlie can't. As he said, Charlie took out the pill that was originally prepared for Doris from his pocket and said, this medicine was originally prepared for you to take it, and you will take it to your father when you get to the hospital. Ensure that he is given this pill, the medicine will cure the disease. Doris was shocked and stunned. Young master, you said that this medicine was originally prepared for me? Did you already know about my father? Charlie shook his head and said, the main reason why I organized a dinner today is to thank you all for visiting my house during the Chinese New Year and paying my gratitude. That's why I prepared a blood-saving and heart-saving treatment for everyone. Pill, although this medicine is not as effective as a rejuvenating pill, it is enough to treat your father's illness. When Doris heard this, the whole person was still a little bit in a dream. She subconsciously asked, Master, this medicine can really cure my father? Charlie said, if he can be cured or not, you'll know when you get to the hospital. Get in the car. Although Doris couldn't be 100% sure whether Charlie's pill could cure her father, she was very excited at this time, nodded hurriedly, and sat in the car under Charlie's urging. Subsequently, Charlie started the car and drove quickly to Orus Hill People's Hospital. At the same time, Walter, who was in the Orus Hill International Hotel, received a call from his subordinates. As soon as the other party came up, he said hurriedly, Boss, I heard a person from Orus Hill Police say that the police have found a book containing mercury dichloride from Doris's house. Now a special team has been set up and it has started to trace the clues of the book. What? Walter exclaimed and blurted out, how can the Orus Hill Police be so fast? The other party said, we didn't expect that their efficiency would be so high. Walter hesitated for a moment and said, when you pretended to be a courier to deliver the express, did you leave any clues? The man thought for a while and said, there should be none. The car that delivered the courier was not a licensed car. It is impossible to find clues. The disguised courier was also wearing a mask and should not be found. Walter furrowed his brows, his expression gloomy, and his huge hooked nose made him look a little bit harsher. He thought for a moment, then said, immediately kill the guy who went there acting as the courier. The other party was obviously taken aback, and only a moment later said in a bit of horror, old boss, David usually performs well and is very clever. There is no need to treat him for such a thing. He won't be exposed, he is still very safe, is it necessary? Walter said coldly, do you Fu King understand criminal investigation? He is the only person exposed to the police at the moment, even if he wears a mask. Do you think wearing a mask is absolutely safe? Yet? A person has ears, nose, mouth, and eyebrows on his face. The mask can only cover his mouth and nose. The police can still monitor his basic face shape, eyes, eyebrows, and ears through surveillance video. They can clearly see his body shape, his height, his hairstyle, and his walking posture. If Doris's surveillance videotape radio microphone is at the door of Doris's house, the police can still grasp his voice characteristics. With so many clues exposed, do you still think he is very safe? When the other party heard this, the nervous voice immediately trembled. Yes, sorry boss, I didn't think. Didn't think of this, so serious. Walter gritted his teeth and said, you tell that little David, and you say that I have prepared for him $1 million in cash, and then ask him to take that away quickly, and then you will drive him away from Orr's Hill with someone in the middle. Get rid of him. As he said, Walter hurriedly ordered, remember to use the method of poisoning and never spill blood. If you get blood everywhere, it will be difficult to deal with the scene of the crime. The other party hurriedly asked, boss, what should I do with the corpse? How about throwing it directly into the river? If the river is more than 100 meters deep, there is a high probability that it will not be found. Walter said contemptuously, stupid. No matter how deep the river water is, there are undercurrents at the bottom of the river. Undercurrents will wash things downstream from the bottom of the river. Once the corpse reaches the shallow water area downstream, it is likely to be washed away. Going ashore. Otherwise, how do you think those Shen Yang's bodies were discovered? Hearing this, the other party hurriedly asked, boss, do you have any good ideas? Walter thought for a while and said coldly, so, you go find an anchor used on a speedboat, tie the corpse with an iron chain, hang the anchor, and throw it into the river with the anchor. The anchor it would be like a fixed boat, fixing the body in the sand on the bottom of the river. It is difficult for the undercurrent to take him away. The other party hurriedly agreed and blurted out, okay boss. I'll do it now. Walter hung up the phone, and a man with a dark face paced in front of the window, cursing in a low voice, damn. I really didn't expect that the Orr's Hill police could be so fast. Doris, it seems I have to push you again. Can you take it? Having said that, he immediately picked up his cell phone and dialed his phone. As soon as the phone was connected, Walter immediately said in a cold voice, prepare the car immediately, we are going to the Orr's Hill People's Hospital in 5 minutes.